Welcome to the SVG-TV News for Tuesday, May 18th. I am Calo Cato with the details. President of the SVG Consumers Association, Junior Bacchus, has warned that Vincentian consumers could face an increase in the price of goods in the aftermath of the Soufriere eruption, which has destroyed approximately one-third of local agricultural produce. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Bacchus described the double whammy of the eruption of Soufriere and the COVID-19 pandemic and their impact on the economy.
The result of food shortages will mean that there will be imports, and then on top of that there will be price gouging. Just this morning I went to purchase some plastic bags, and when I inquired, it told me this morning that the price went up. I am not surprised, and the same thing will happen with foods. To bring in these with the challenge that we are already having with COVID is going to be higher prices.
Given the strenuous period the country is facing, Bacchus said now is the time for consumers to be frugal and reduce spoilage in order to maximize their dollar.
My advice to consumers is to reduce our spoilage. Don't buy up a lot of stuff and have it wasted, spoiling in your refrigerator. Buy as you need, limit the amount you buy at any one time, and be certain to do your rotation from your refrigerator. If you know you put in something before, the earlier item will come out first.
Bacchus also advised consumers to shop around and be discriminatory with their dollar. This was in addition to the warning he issued to consumers to be on the lookout for expired goods and those not fit for consumption amidst food shortages.
And to the increase in prices and the shortages that we are already experiencing, you are also going to see people taking advantage by selling or trying to sell expired goods or goods that they do not fit for use at this time. So people have to pay attention to their health and be careful in respect to what they accept, what they decide to eat at this stage.
Bacchus said in the near future, the Consumers Association will be advocating for the Consumer Protection Bill 2020 to become officially law.
As soon as things settle down in the country, we are going to reorganize the association and push for the final acceptance of the Consumer Protection Bill. Well, not bill, it was passed in the House, it's a now and act, but it just has to be assented to by the Governor General, so we are going to be pushing for that to happen, and then we will work with the Ministry of Trade to implement. It's going to regulate a lot of the things that are affecting consumers.
The bill, which was brought to Parliament by former Minister of Trade Sir Louis Straker, seeks to establish the duties and obligation of suppliers, as well as the administrative and legal frameworks for the identification of violations involving the supply of goods and services, unfair trade practices, transactions, unfair contract terms, and physical and financial security of consumers. The new 48-page e-passports, which are now available to citizens, diplomats, and officials, have been heavily subsidized by government. So said Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves at the launch of the passports yesterday. Noting that the increase in cost for the new passports is by one-third more than was previously paid, PM Gonsalves said it could have been more had the government not subsidized the cost.
You have 50% more pages. So page-wise, if you're a frequent traveler, this is cheaper. This is a heavily subsidized passport. The actual cost of this would be a number around twice the price. The Chief Immigration Officer, the public servants had recommended a particular number, but I thought that with much higher, I thought that with COVID, and we announced it last year, well, even before COVID, but given all the challenges, we said well, we'd absorb more.
PM Gonsalves said that passports are a valuable possession and they are costing the government lots of money under a 7-year contract amounting to more than $18 million.
$11 million easy for all the equipment and the passports which are now issued, the 100,000. And later this year, we have some work to do out at the airport, Argyle International, to lift the border control system which we have, the border management control systems that we have, which would be another $8 million out there about. So this is why the contract is 18 point something million dollars, really. So this is not, this process in which we have embarked upon is not cheap.
SVG is the second country in the OECS to have e-passports. On now to the latest on La Soufriere. Temperature anomalies indicating high temperatures inside the new crater have been detected by NASA satellites. Speaking on the matter on radio this morning, lead monitoring scientist Dr. Adam Stinton said thermal anomalies occur when a satellite shows a higher brightness of temperature than what is usually expected on Earth. He noted that these were first registered at La Soufriere in late December, when it began to effusively erupt.
There's a series of satellites that are orbiting the Earth, and they're looking for temperature anomalies on the surface of the Earth, primarily looking for as a sort of a warning for forest fires or bushfires and that sort of thing. But obviously, any sort of high heat source will generate a thermal anomaly, and we are still seeing these thermal anomalies being detected inside the summit crater of the volcano at the moment.
Dr. Stinton said the high temperature coming from the volcano suggests that magma is close to the surface in the chamber, which is producing a high source of heat.
When the thermal anomalies were first detected, it was as a result of lava reaching the surface. Right now, it's possible that these temperature anomalies are related to a batch of magma that's sitting just below the surface of the summit crater in the conduit that was created by the explosions back in April. And we think that it's possible that this batch of magma is very rich in gas and obviously will be still very hot, and that's providing the source for the gas and for the steaming, and also obviously for the high temperatures that are obviously there to generate this thermal anomaly.
On Monday, the UWI Seismic Research Center said that La Soufriere continues to be in a state of unrest, and escalation in activity can still take place with little or no warning. A temporary school will be built in the orange zone to accommodate the students of the Sandy Bay Secondary School. That school was one of the many buildings that collapsed in the red zone north of the Rabica Dry River due to the explosion of La Soufriere. On radio yesterday, Area Representative and Minister of Transport and Works Montgomery Daniel noted that the Sandy Bay Secondary School was one of 9 schools earmarked for rehabilitation in this year's budget. He noted that the initial temporary location was on his land directly opposite the school, but this is in the red zone. Hence, they had to change the plan.
The two sites to place the temporary building, the temporary secondary school building for Sandy Bay.
Yeah, which one you recommended?
And the chief surveyor would have recommended to the Ministry of Education, that is, the Minister of Education was present on that visit, and the Minister of Education, to he is satisfied that the Flamingo, what used to be the building there for Lynch.
Yes.
I think all are in agreement that that is the better of the two sites.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves agreed to the new location for the school, stating that it is the better option moving forward.
We'll put the temporary facility down at Gonsalves so that people will be able to go and the students will be able to go there, so that when they get back up to into the red zone, they don't have far to travel. We will transport them, because we have to rebuild the secondary school at where we have the money from the CDB. In fact, on Friday, I had a discussion with the president of the CDB and his team about the CDB projects.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister said that the rehabilitation to schools outlined in the budget will continue, but some changes will have to be made due to the disruption caused by the eruption of La Soufriere.
Yeah, it would be for the Thomas Saunders, because we have to do extensive work on Thomas Saunders. Yeah. We have to do on Girls High School also, on the grammar school. And the question is, I don't believe we are going to be able, certainly at Girls High School, to do the kind of work which we have to do there while they're still inside of while students go into that school in the October period.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so that finally the ministry has to work out with the Girls High School leadership, that we know exactly, maybe another temporary school out at Arnesville.
As students sitting external exams returned to face-to-face classes this week, Minister of Education and National Reconciliation Curtis King visited a few of the learning hubs yesterday to ensure that all was well for their return. Several buildings used as learning hubs have been established to facilitate the continuation of the students' education, as schools are currently being used as public shelters. During his visit, the Education Minister donated cases of water and encouraged the students to stay focused amidst the current challenges. He also reminded the students to adhere to the COVID-19 protocols.
This school has a history of very good performances at what used to be common entrance and now is CPE 8. So those who have gone before you have put down their footprints, very positive footprints. So you have to maintain that. You have to do well also. And the only way you're going to do well is if you prepare. And I know your teachers, they're going to work hard to ensure that you're well prepared. I ask you to take in whatever is offered. Get yourself prepared. And when the 27th and 28th of July come around, you go to the center where you're writing your exam full of confidence. And I know with that confidence, you're not going to panic. You're going to do well. I want to wish you all the best and remind you of me. On your way to school, wear your mask. On your way home, wear your mask. And I notice you have problem on in the class, keep them on. Let us also remain healthy and safe. This COVID thing is very serious. And
the Seventh-day Adventist Church continues to live up to its social responsibility and has been helping to make life and living a bit more comfortable for those displaced by the eruption of La Soufriere. The church, which recently completed a one-month feeding program for persons in shelters, has signed a second memorandum of understanding with the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, to continue the program to provide meals to 9 shelters it has adopted. Under the first MOU, community services volunteers of the church prepared over 31,000 hot meals at 4 kitchens and delivered to the 9 shelters assigned by NEMO and adopted by the church. The church said the meals, including lunch and supper, represented a basic cost of $93,600, and that if volunteering, transportation, and other incidental costs were to be factored in, the value of the meals would be approximately twice the amount. On Friday, Pastor Dermot Batiste, president of the SVG mission of the SDA, and NEMO director Michelle Forbes signed the second memorandum of understanding to offer a similar number of meals to the same 9 shelters adopted by the church at a similar cost. The second MOU is expected to expire on June 11th. A group of Vincentian philanthropists, spearheaded by educator Latoya John, yesterday evening, hosted a baby shower for some 50 expectant moms who have been displaced by the La Soufriere eruption. At the elaborate shower hosted at the Sunset Shores Hotel, the mothers, who attended in the event in groups of 2, were presented with gifts, prizes, and baby items totaling upwards of 50,000 EC dollars. Speaking at the event, John said the inspiration for the baby shower was sparked after meeting with expectant moms.
I packed the box and I got Maryann's fruits. And then I went to the house and Maryann said to me that, you know, it was really rough for her. She was then 8.5 months pregnant, and she evacuated from Oria, Sandy Bay, and she didn't have anything much. And I went home and I thought of Maryann, and then I went to sleep and woke up and ta-da! I'm saying, I wonder if they have other mommies like Maryann who are pregnant, displaced, a little worried about what's going to happen. And I put out a message on my Facebook account, and it was shared over 400 times. And we ended up with 50 mothers, expectant mothers.
At the end of the event, the expectant mothers walked away with almost everything needed to prepare them for the arrival of their little ones. One mother, Maryann Nero, who had to leave her community of Sandy Bay, shared her gratitude to the organizers.
So my name is Maryann Nero. I'm from Sandy Bay. She had a post on Facebook for single mothers who wanted stuff. So I messaged her and then she came to drop a package for me. So after that, she called me and told me that she would be having a shower, and I was the inspiration behind all of this. Well, it actually feels great. It's a very nice experience for me, and I just hope to go through my pregnancy and have a safe delivery.
Many of the other mothers were camera shy. However, they all expressed gratitude for the generosity meted out to them, noting that it was their first baby shower. Also in attendance were representatives from the Ministry of Health, including senior nutritionist Nicole France, who made an informative presentation on the importance of breastfeeding, as well as other sponsors, donors, and their representatives. 7 new positive COVID-19 cases were recorded from 130 samples processed on Saturday, resulting in a positivity rate of 5.4%. No new no new positive cases were reported from 37 samples processed on Sunday. No new recoveries were noted over the reporting period. 161 cases are currently active and 12 persons with COVID-19 have died. To date, 1,947 cases of COVID-19, along with 1,774 recoveries, have been recorded in St. Vincent and the Grenadines since March 2020. The public is being urged to continue to use masks, sanitize, physically distance, and get vaccinated to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has again reiterated the importance of persons being vaccinated, especially those in the public service. On WeFM's Issues at Hand program on Sunday, PM Gonsalves referenced his security officers who have been vaccinated and what would apply to those who are not.
Security staff, personal protection security are vaccinated. As far as I'm aware, I've been told there's one person who's on holiday who hasn't come back yet, and I don't know whether she is vaccinated or not. But I would expect that she'll be vaccinated. If she doesn't get vaccinated, she's not going to be able to come back on the security staff because everybody else is vaccinated. It's as simple and straightforward as that. And all those who are working around me immediately in the office of the Prime Minister are vaccinated. So that when they come inside of my office, I don't have to put on a mask or they put on the mask. You see, look, COVID has made it different as to how we work and how we interact.
The Prime Minister was informed that many persons are reluctant in taking the vaccine and even taking the COVID-19 test. Director of NEMO, Michelle Forbes, was asked by the Prime Minister if there were any persons who were refusing to engage in the exercise. Forbes noted that one person has not returned to work, and the Prime Minister queried whether it was reported to the relevant authorities.
Anybody who says that they're not taking the test?
Yes, there's some.
Are you allowing them to come around?
We have 3 members of staff who haven't taken the test, and those who refused though to take the PCR test, like for example, they just removed themselves last week. We had a few persons who refused to do the PCR test last week because we had a positive case within the youth.
They haven't turned up to work?
No, we didn't.
Okay. Has it been reported to the Public Service Commission?
That has been reported to the CPO because various program workers.
Well,
they refused to take the test and they left.
I just want to say to them over this broadcast, look, don't be silly. I mean, come on. You don't want to take the test? What do you think the test is going to do to you? And the science in relation to the vaccine, take the vaccine.
Orwin Small, who escaped the Belle Isle Correctional Facility on Saturday, May 1st, continues to evade police. Small, who hails from Camden Park, was reported last seen in Rose Hall. In a telephone interview with SVG-TV News, Superintendent of Prisons Timothy Hazelwood says a team of officers has been designated to track the escapees' whereabouts.
We have since did several mountain searches, but we haven't gotten any information. There isn't anything to substantiate that it is a fact. He haven't been seen anywhere else different than in Rose Hall. He is known to be an individual who will go to the mountains with other marijuana planters and work and so on. I have a team out still. I get assistance from the Black Squad, RRU. I get assistance from SSU. So once we get information, we compile the information and we act on them. But I have a team set to deal with him.
Just over 2 weeks ago, Small managed to escape lawful custody while working on the farm of the Belle Isle Correctional Facility. When he fled, he was said to have been carrying a black bag. Small was serving a 2-year sentence for burglary and theft and 3 months for damage to property. He began his sentence on January 27, 2020 and would have been released on April 26, 2022. If captured, he now faces additional charges for escaping lawful custody. Previous offenders who have escaped lawful custody have been given anywhere from 16 to 24 months for the offense.